Streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and blasttheradio.com, this is The Lowell Green Show. The number to call and be heard around the world is 613-413-2217. Or email Lowell at blasttheradio.com. And now, here is Lowell Green.
Anything you want to talk about today, folks? I've got a number of topics here. But if there's something else that you think that we should be discussing, if there's a topic you would like to raise, then get in touch with us. That's what we do here. Sometimes there are things that bothering you or concern you that haven't sort of been revealed to me. So let us know. The lines are certainly available, and so is the texting. This latest mutation of COVID. How do we pronounce it, John? Have you get the correct pronunciation?
Omicron.
Where the hell did that come from? Do you know?
It is a Greek word. It is the 15th letter in their alphabet.
Oh, okay. How did you know that? That's amazing.
I know
You're
everything.
Amazing.
Lowell, I know everything.
Okay,
no,
all right.
I had a listener ask me the other day what it meant, so I Googled it and found out.
So, like, you know everything, and if you don't, you'll just tell a lie, and nobody will ever know the difference, right?
Ding, 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 ding. He's on me.
Well, so with this new mutation, the media, as usual, trying to panic us. How do you feel about this? One of the questions I have is it concerning enough for you that you might change plans, so let's say for Christmas or for travel come this winter? Anybody got any thoughts on that? Let us know. On another topic. What's your view, folks, of the NDP and the Liberals essentially forming one left-wing party? Joining forces the first chance that they have, okay? What do you think of the fact that this just as happened last year? Members of Parliament don't have to show up in Parliament, okay? We haven't had a government. We haven't had Parliament in about the last 6-7 months. It's been by proxy once in a while. Do you know that there were times in the House of Commons when there was only one Liberal sitting there? Honest to God. And I mean, the Conservatives fought tooth and nail against the passage of this bill, which is called hybrid sitting, which means that you can stay at home, you can govern the country, you can make laws for the country, you can call me a racist and do all of these things while sitting at home in your jammies. That's essentially what, and believe me, all kinds of Liberals and probably all kinds of NDPers will do exactly just that, which they did in the past 6-7 months. We're being governed here again for another 6-7 months by essentially Parliament that's not there. I mean, how can the opposition parties do their job? The job of the opposition parties, unless you're the NDP, in which case the job of the opposition party is to support the governing party, okay? But if you're a conservative, and even the Bloc is opposed to this, if you're a conservative, your job, your duty, it's in the Constitution, is to hold the government's feet to the fire, to question them, to try and get answers, etc., etc. Difficult at the best of times, but when there's nobody there, how the hell do you get any answers? So here we go again. And so we are essentially, folks, with all of the problems that we face, and we have a few problems, I would think, in this country. I could spend most of the rest of this program just spelling them out. But so what are we doing here again? Well, we're going to be governed by proxy. A prime minister who's never there, and even if he is, doesn't answer any questions anyway, but everybody still loves him. I guess that's all that's required now, eh? Just a nice head of hair and a nice smile, and you can do pretty well anything you want. And there's this Jagmeet Singh. A lot of people, particularly apparently younger women, really find him attractive. They think he's quite cute. Well, I mean, the first chance he gets, When he was originally questioned about this, Singh said, "No, no, we're not going to join. No, we're not going to say, have any sort of affiliation." First chance he gets, he votes with the government to essentially have this so-called hybrid parliament. What are your views on that? I mean, how can we be governed in this country? This is a difficult country to govern. We've got two languages, two cultures. We've got the highest rate of immigration of any nation on earth, which means we have the most diverse population. We've got the whole situation in the West. We've got a declining economy. We've got floods in the West. We've got floods in the East. I mean, we've got a few problems here, right? We've got a pandemic that's coming back, et cetera, et cetera. And what's the answer? Well, we'll govern in our jammies. Oh, cheapers. I don't know. It concerns me, but apparently the majority of Canadians think it's just fine and dandy. What about you? Um, Before we go any further, by the way, I've got to correct something. A lot of people apparently really enjoyed yesterday's show when we talked about some of the books that you liked as a kid, some of the books that maybe had a bit of an effect on you. But I made a mistake. For some reason, I confused Swiss Family Robinson with Robinson Crusoe, and I had Friday was the right hand man of Robinson Crusoe. Friday did not appear in Swiss Family Robinson. By the way, and Robinson Crusoe was a great book as well. But we as I say, I just had to correct that because I'm going to tell you something. If I don't correct myself, there's a few of you out there that don't mind correcting me. Believe me, there are
Shocking.
some. I swear, John, there are people, and I'm sure the same thing happens with you, right? There's
Oh,
people just sitting there, and they're just sitting by the wherever it is, Facebook or on blast the radio, and there's like, I'm gonna listen to that son of a bitch, and the first mistake he makes, I'm gonna pin his ass to the wall, and they do.
it's as if they're in the House of Commons, but in their PJ. Yeah, same thing applies.
Well, they would never, respond to any major question. Like the world is going to blow up in 3 minutes. Does it bother you? Well, that's not going to blow up until it's 4 minutes. So there you go.
I saw a thing on BitChute. It said 4 minutes.
Yeah. Why are you lying again? It's not 3 minutes. The world's going to extinguish in 4 minutes. You damn fool.
It's funny because it's true. We're still getting comments, by the way, on the books that people read today. Farley Mowat coming up. Hardy Boys again.
I have to tell you, can I? A few of you people out there like some of my stories. I mean, let's face it. At 85, I'm almost a living history, right?
Yes, you are.
Farley Mowat. I had a lot of guests in some 60 years of broadcasting, believe me. But Farley Mowat had to be, I think, my favorite. Certainly one of the top ones. Here's what would happen. And I've told this story before. I'm going to tell it again. So I would get this call. It didn't matter what time of the day or anything. It could be 10 o'clock at night because he had my home phone number. And the phone call would go something like this. Hey, Green. Yes, Farley here. Mowat. Yes, of course. It's Farley Mowat. I'm on your show tomorrow. Geez, I'm sorry, Farley. I got the Queen, the Pope, the Governor General, the Prime Minister, and the President of the United States already scheduled. I don't give up. They would use the word. I'm on your show, and I want the usual. Okay, there was you couldn't stall him. Farley's usual was a 48, or maybe not a 4, but a 24 ounce or whatever it is, of Demerara rum. It had to be Demerara, and a big pitcher of ice water, okay? And I had to be there sitting there with the Demerara rum. When he would come in, he'd stumble into the studio about 2 minutes before he went on the air. You're sweating away. Is my guest going to show? He would show up, and he was delightful. He was funny. He was slightly profane, but really, really profane. As soon as we would punch the microphone off for the news or a commercial, he would launch into, and he would talk about one of the callers we were at, and he would use very profane language. And I would say, he would scare the hell out of me. He'd say, Farley, if you say things like that on the air, I've lost my job. I don't. So anyway, you wouldn't know that he was into his cups a little bit by the end of the show. I mean, it was a 2-hour show, and he went through this whole 24 ounce or whatever it was. Except he would become a little bit romantic. Every single caller, didn't matter whether it was a 99-year-old woman or a 12-year-old teenager, he would become, as I say, a little romantic, and he would drop broad hints that he was all alone here. He didn't know anybody in Ottawa. He was staying at the Chateau Laurier, and I would stop him from giving the room number.
Yeah, I was
But
just going to ask.
anyway, by the time the show was over, I was sweating profusely, thinking that I would never again appear in public or on the air. And away he was gone. And this would happen again. The next book that he had out. I have another delightful story I'll tell you sometime about Farley Mowat and and the boat that wouldn't float. We've got some text coming in, John. Go ahead.
We absolutely do. And we invite you to call or text the show at 613-413-2217. If you're listening on Blast the Radio, that's how to do that. If you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, etc., just post your comments where you would ordinarily post comments. We'll get them on the screen. Ken says, I've been waiting to see a coalition government form. An email from Lisa. She says, Lowell, well, I guess Barbados won't be invited to any more Commonwealth games. So be it. If anyone doesn't want to be a part of the Commonwealth countries or colonialism, I say don't let the door hit you on the way out.
Yeah, you know what? Barbados is now a republic. That'll really fix the roads. That country, sadly, it used to be an upscale country. I mean, it has really, really declined. I'm not quite sure why. I think there's been a lot of graft involved, etc. So whether it's a queen or a president, it's still a freaking mess. Go ahead, John.
Here we go. Joshua says the flu mutates every year, right? I think it's time to maintain common sense, but not panic for everyone's sanity and wallet. We need to smartly get on with our lives. I'm not sure if it's Carolyn or Caroline. We are planning on heading out for the winter in January, but that depends on the COVID situation.
Sweet Caroline. Go ahead.
Ba, ba, ba. You can't do that and not do the ba, 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 Lowell Green. Kathy says, honestly, so fed up with this useless government, and do not get me going on the NDP, she says. Lynn, it's too dangerous to be in Parliament, but not too dangerous to travel around the globe all buttoned up in a plane.
You know, I'm glad you mentioned that. I don't know how many of you people are aware of the fact that at the so-called climate summit in Glasgow, there were 21,000 delegates. All of them there with unmasked, all jammed together in one place at one time. So our prime minister has no problem taking how many did he take? About 400?
277, I think is what you're saying.
207 anyway. So he has no problem traveling with all of those. He has no problem in crowds of 20,000 and so forth. That's no problem. But 398 or whatever it is members of parliament, oh, that's really dangerous. And not only that, but he called an election in the middle of the fourth wave of the pandemic. He forced us to jam into lineups and so forth. Ever see some of those lineups to vote in Toronto? People shoulder to shoulder and so forth. You don't think that was a major spreader of COVID? Of course it was. So the prime minister has no problem forcing the rest of us into dangerous situations. He goes into situations like that himself. But Parliament? Oh, no. Parliament is too dangerous. What a hypocrite. But I know you ladies out there, you love him. I know it. He's so cute. He's so cute. He's got those eyebrows that keep falling off. He's so cute. Go ahead, John. Drives me nutsy. He did. Did they never see that time his eyebrow fell off?
No.
He did. It did. He has paste on eyebrows.
Okay. I will go looking for that.
And you know what? What, folks? I need some of you people who saw that, who watched it. It was fascinating to watch. He's being interviewed on something, and very slowly this eyebrow starts to fall down, and everybody's saying, "My God, is that an eyebrow?" Yes, it's an eyebrow falling down. I need some of you people to back me up on this. Otherwise, people are just going to say that I'm nuts. Go ahead, John.
I'm not doubting you, and I would never in a million years call you nuts.
Oh, you can doubt me all you want, but you'd be wrong.
Touche. Here's a text at 613-413-2217. Lowell, any MPs that stay at home to represent their voters should not be allowed an expense account. Let them see what the cost of groceries is, and no expense account to have their favorite restaurants deliver meals to them. That's a text at 613-413-2217. From Facebook, Ann says, I cannot wait to get the booster once they open it up to over 65s or probably over 60s, as that is what they did for the initial COVID shots. I would be giving myself a shake if I was an anti-vaxxer right now. This is going to find the stupid.
By the way, I'm announcing to the world that I am getting my booster shot at 3:30 tomorrow afternoon. And it's perfectly legitimate. It's been 158 days since my last shot. I've made the appointment. I've done everything I'm supposed to. So all of you trolls out there, you can troll me away all you want, but I'm doing it legitimately. Okay. And I'm going to tell you something else. I would think that very shortly, in reading the tea leaves here or anything else, the booster shots I think are soon going to be available to everybody in the United States. You can walk into any Walmart, any Costco, and you'll get a booster shot right there. In fact, there's a greeter. My daughter lives in Virginia, and she went into I think it was Walmart or I get confused. And there's a greeter there. Say, welcome to Walmart. Whatever. Welcome to Walmart. Would you like a booster shot? That's how they're greeted.
Wow.
And she said, "Oh, okay." And they just send you over there. There's the nurse over there with the needle, and boom, and it doesn't matter how old you are or any. They don't even ask you when you had your last shot. They just give you the booster. Go ahead, John.
I'll be damned. I'm looking on Google right now, and there's the eyebrow slipping off his face.
Thank you very much. Now
Mhm.
apologize for doubting me.
I'm sorry, Mr. Green, King Lord of all things. Terry says it was on all the newspapers. Everyone was raising their real eyebrows over it. Gene says, I remember that bit with the eyebrow about 2 years or so ago. Said it was a paste on eyebrow. Nina says, yes, Lowell, that's absolutely correct. I saw that eyebrow getting crooked. Lowell,
Thank you.
the United Nations has voted Trudeau #1 moron of the year, says Greg. Craig says, yes, and the lame street media absolutely ignored it. Hazel says, I saw it, Lowell. Yes, John, Trudeau's brows are fake, says, okay, fine.
Okay, we've got it confirmed. We've got it confirmed.
I've already gone to my room, so there you
All
go.
right, very, very good.
Go ahead.
I have to get a word in here for Shields. Now, ordinarily, I am talking Shields. I'm talking appliances, and of course, in my view, this is the place to buy appliances. You're probably going to save money, and you're going to deal locally. But I have to point something else out. With the price of meat skyrocketing, you might check out Shields Butcher Shop. They've got a dandy little butcher shop. In fact, I think the butcher shop was probably the first business that they started in 1947. But they buy only local beef, for example, local pork from local farmers. And I'm going to be honest, I haven't checked the prices, but knowing Shields as I do, I suspect that you can probably not only get better quality and fresher meats, but you will also be buying only local, and you're cutting out that middle guy. It's a great little butcher shop. I got some. They make their own sausage there, for example, their own chili, etc., etc. So I just thought I'd get a little plug in there. While you're in there buying, a $427,000 worth of appliances for that new little studio apartment, you can pick up, some nice steaks. But as far as I know, once again, I haven't concentrated that much on the butcher shop, although I've certainly shopped there, but it's a good spot. Yes, #1 for appliances, but a dandy little butcher shop. And as I say, this is what really impresses me. I like places like this that buy local, sell local, and keep the prices down because of that. Shields.ca. Now, I don't think the website, John, talks about the butcher shop, but I'm going to tell you, it's there. As a matter of fact, when you walk into Shields on the main street, first thing you see right there on the right is that dandy little butcher shop. Local, local, local. Please, if you can. Don't give money to China. China doesn't need it. Local. Thank you. John, more text coming in here.
Anne's on Facebook. She says, sounds like it's worth it to buy a fridge just to get the 2 steaks these days.
Yeah, the 2 T-bones may be worth more than the fridge.
We're getting to that point. Over to YouTube, where CJ says, Trudeau is actually as bald as his behind. There you go. Another Ann on Facebook.
Wait a minute, hold it. Now, you have some sort of inside information on this?
Yeah, CJ, how do you know this?
What have you been up to, CJ?
Lowell
Go ahead.
At blasttheradio.com for any. We'll keep you anonymous.
Yeah.
Another Ann says he's not even good looking for a man. He's too effeminate looking for me. A man should not be prettier than an ordinary woman. Okay, we're down that path. Are we? Regarding the resumption of the House of Commons, Kerry says they should be back to work in the same room. Off topic, but here's an email. You're inviting conversations about
Yep.
anything. Christina says, I don't know if people are concerned or not, but wondering how many people are actually going to casinos these days. Gatineau or Rideau. Are people actually wanting to spend money at these places during this pandemic? Great for entertainment, and if you win, but wondering if anyone is concerned. Bingo halls, slot machines, what's going on?
In this regard, well, slightly different, but I'm just wondering. It seems to me, John, I don't know if you've noticed it, but it seems to me people are starting Christmas decorations, putting up Christmas trees earlier than usual this year.
Oh, yeah.
Like I see on Facebook all kinds of people with the Christmas tree up. Now, I don't know what it's like in your house, but we don't put our tree up until about 10 days before Christmas. And our well, actually, to be honest with you, Debbie loves Christmas, and she's constantly buying, these trees that have little lights on them and so forth, the artificial tree. Our
Mhm.
house is just populated with them. So she started that a little bit. But the tree won't go up until at least 10 days before Christmas. But we were driving around Stittsville the other day in Canada, and it's amazing and it's beautiful to see. Amazing the number of people whose houses are all decorated. I'm just wondering if, because of the pandemic, people feeling that they need a little bit more joy in their life, so they're spending more time and doing it a bit early. I don't know. Any observations, John? Have you noticed this? Did
I
people?
I I have, but I find Christmas tends to start pretty much after Remembrance Day is when people tend to plug their lights in. I'm noticing a lot around my neighborhood. And listen, I've married exactly the same type of person you have. Sue is all about the Christmas trees. Lowell, I
Oh yeah.
have 7 artificial trees up in storage in this house. This year we got a million things going on. Our niece is moving in with us, so I don't know when we're going to get around to it, but eventually, yes. And this seems to be uh, and there was a conversation, I guess, early in the pandemic about leaving your Christmas lights on all year too, just to bring that extra little joy. So yeah, I think there's
By
some
the way,
validity to what you say.
talking about Christmas, you're the expert in things like this. What
Me?
the hell? Yeah. What the hell is Black Friday? And when is it? And then we've got Cyber Monday.
Yes.
I don't know. Like what do we got Tuesday? Today is Tuesday. What's today? Anything?
It should be 2 for Tuesday. Actually, today is National Chocolate Mousse Day.
Chocolate
So
Mousse Day.
yeah, so there's that. Look for a deal on mousse. So Black Friday, you've missed it, by the way. That was this past Friday, right after Thanksgiving in the States. And
But
it's a
that's an
movement.
American. It's an
It
American holiday.
absolutely is. It absolutely is. And it's a movement to encourage people to get out there shopping. Here's some deals for you. And hopefully this kickstarts the holiday season and the retailers can end up in the
But
black.
this doesn't
Hence the Black
represent
Friday.
any religion or anything of
Nope.
that sort. Black Friday.
Unless retail is a religion. No. And then if you didn't get enough deals on computers and things like that, we do have Cyber Monday. So get online and do all your shopping, as you say. Give all your money to China.
Oh, by the way, talking about Cyber Monday. Did you see what Best Buy, the owner or the directors of Best Buy have done? They have issued an email or a text to all of their employees offering grief counseling because of the verdict in the Rittenhouse verdict. Did you see that? And they're being Best Buy store right across, I guess, North America. All their employees are being offered grief counseling because they may be grieving the verdict in the Kyle Rittenhouse verdict.
And I followed that story somewhat. What does
Well,
that have to do
this is
with
the kid that was
Best
just
Buy?
acquitted.
No, I know who
Quit.
he is, but what does that
Well,
have to do with Best Buy?
this is I guess Best Buy considers itself to be the most progressive company, the most woke company in the world, and thus it is that any of their employees. Oh my God, this kid got off. He killed 2 people, wounded another. It was in self-defense, and et cetera, et cetera. But you may be grieving because can you imagine? I mean, the world has gone. Has the world gone nuts, John, or is it
Uh,
just me?
Apparently. I mean, is this what's going to happen then every single time we have a murder
I
or
don't know.
someone?
I don't know. I mean, I couldn't believe it. I read this morning. I said, "My God, that's craziness, craziness." So I got to get this straight. Black Friday was last Friday.
Black Friday was this past Friday, and
Well, how
then
come I still keep hearing everywhere like still Black
because
Friday
they've
sale?
extended the sale. Lol, it was such a success. It was such a success. They've extended the sale.
Actually, you know what?
Black Friday
Re-
deals continue.
I know, but you know what? retail really is having a tough time,
It is.
and I don't blame them at all. Anything they can do, for some of them, I'm perhaps more than you may know. It may be a matter of life and death this Christmas whether they
100%.
can continue. And a lot of there are a lot of people think, oh, you're in business, you're a rich guy, etc. A lot of these people have put everything in their whole lives into it. They've got their houses, their own homes, probably on their third mortgage or whatever it is, trying to stay alive. So please, okay,
Thank
if
you
you
for saying
can,
that.
particular.
As an entrepreneur, thank you for saying that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know what? I mean, I've been an entrepreneur. I put everything on the line once I
I
lost it.
know you have.
So
Yep.
so it ain't fun. And if you're going to go into business, you're going to take a hell of a risk. And in many cases, some of the conditions are totally out of your control. So if you can, and now as I've always said, the big box stores, the Costco, the Walmart, they're going to survive. They'll be fine. It's
Yeah.
the little guy, the local. Please, if you can, shop local. Thank you. Go ahead, John. You got some more there?
And if I can just add to that,
Yeah.
the number of times people say, "Oh, this comes out of profits." It's just, it's all about, coming out of the profits. These, raise people's salaries. It's coming out of the owner's profits. What you call profit, by the way, is your paycheck every week. That's your profit. The
In many
profit that a
cases, yeah.
business makes, that's the owner's salary. That's how they, after they've incurred all the expenses and paid all the salaries and bought all the food and other things that are required and maintenance and taxes, etc. That's how they pay their mortgage at home. So stop saying it comes out of profit as if it's some magical
Let me tell
piggy
you a
bank
a
somewhere.
little story. In 1983, I very foolishly launched the Sunday Herald, which now is the Ottawa Sun. I'm very proud of this. It was very difficult. There had been attempts before. In fact, the more recent attempt at a newspaper, they had gone through over $1 million. I didn't have a million. Almost everything I had was my own personal savings. Um, it was so tight. I'll never forget. And in order to meet the payroll, obviously you had to have cash coming in. And so the delivery of the mail was key for months in our business when we first started, because some of the checks for the advertising ads would come in, and you would rush to the bank and hopefully cover the salary. One day, there's no mail. We're there in the office in the Sunday Herald. There's no mail delivery. Where the hell is the postman? He's sick today. There's no mail delivery. We're short about $1,000 or whatever it is. Some of our employees are not going to get paid. We don't have enough money because we don't have the. So anyway, you know what I did? I went down. I had to rush down to the post office myself. Somehow or other, convinced them to give me our mail. Got enough checks in there to put in the bank. That's the kind of life that many entrepreneurs live. Believe me,
Yep.
it ain't fun. Go ahead, John.
All right. Sonia says, I'm not happy with the current government. Apparently, traveling without masks to climate conferences is safe, where much of Europe is not vaccinated. But House of Commons, where everyone must be vaccinated, wearing a mask is not safe. NDP is just trying to stay relevant, she says. Here we go. An email from Gilles. This is the first time we've heard from you, Gilles. Thank you so much. He says, fact, Omnicron, floodwaters, high inflation, Biden's protectionist stand cannot be directly attributed to Stephen Harper. Ergo, the only plausible explanation for Canada's woes must be because we, the people of Canada, did not give St. Justin, the majority government ordained by divine wish, are now being punished for our transgression. We must now all profoundly bow our heads in great reprieve, ask for forgiveness, and genuflect, and genuflect. I wish I
Think
had
I should
pre-read
write
that,
a
Gilles.
novel.
It's very well done, Gilles. I wish I had pre-read that.
You know what? I have to tell you something. We're almost out
Mhm.
of time here.
Yep.
The first action of this parliament is to pass a bill which says you don't have to be in parliament. You can stay at home in your little jammies. Okay. The next thing that they're passing is this so-called conversion therapy bill.
Yes.
Now, let's be honest, John. I have no problem, I guess, with it, but this affects what, less than 1% of our population. And this is the number one priority. We haven't had a government for 7 months. Not going to have another one for another 7 months. And the number one priority is making sure that you can govern while still in your jammies. And number two is this conversion therapy. Surely to God, there are more important problems than dealing with a bill that bans you trying to convert somebody's gender. Because essentially that's what it is. You're not allowed to go in and say, listen, you think you're a woman, but really you're a man. It's not true. You can't do that. Okay. But is that really the most important issue?
I get what you're saying. I think it's one of those things that we just all agree on it. So it's so easy just to pass it and get it done and let's just make it right so we can focus on other things.
But I mean, I know, but my God, I mean, it sends a signal that this is what's uppermost. And you know what? Sadly, in many ways, this kind of is what's uppermost in many minds these days. Forget the majority of the people here. Let's deal with a tiny little minority here and make sure that they're okay. The hell with the rest of us. I just find it very, very disturbing. There are other priorities in this country right now, believe me, not the least of which is the economy. We're out of time here. John, it's been a great joy dealing with you today, sir.
Well, that's a change. Thanks.
Yeah, well, we got you straightened out on the eyebrows anyway. Thank you very much. I'm gonna try that. I wonder how do you get you paste them on? Is that what you do? As the glue? Would he have like crazy glue there on his eyebrows? I don't know.
Probably the same stuff that they do the fake eyelashes with. I don't know. I will look into that like I did for Omicron for you.
Find out what kind of glue they use. It's obviously not good enough. Thank you all, folks. We'll be back tomorrow.
The Lowell Green Show is seen and heard live around the world at 2 p.m. Eastern. Connect with us online at blasttheradio.com/Lowell Green. Can't join us live? Download the Lowell Green podcast. Available on Apple, Spotify, Google, and more. Ask your smart speaker to play the Lowell Green podcast. This is a production of blasttheradio.com.